What's up, Earthlings? This is Estevan Vega here, author of the Arson Saga. We are here reading through book one in celebration of Arson's 10th birthday. So, as I've said a million times before, wicked stoked you guys are here. Thank you for being a part of this. Thank you for being a fan this long. If you're a new fan, welcome. Welcome to the channel. Please check out the Facebook page. It's just author Estevan Vega. I'm on Facebook and Instagram. And Capulet Entertainment is on Facebook and Instagram too. So today we are reading through chapters 23 and 24. So let's get into it. Abe was in the middle of a coughing fit when they walked into room 219. But when he saw Arson and Emery, his chapped mouth danced back into a frail grin, almost like joy was rebuking his pain, at least for one moment. Arson figured this was his soft side being exposed. Abe said the nurses had been hassling him all morning and that he was glad to have the new recruits drop in and save the day. He looked terrible, though. His brown skin seemed to show age more and more each day, worn and manipulated. The black hair that once occupied his forehead was swallowed up in scattered white bunches. Abe pulled the sheets close to his chin, trying to get warm. "It's cruel of you guys to leave me here alone for almost a week. The white suits are getting sick of me. I think they want to euthanize me or something. Man, I could have gone cuckoo." The old man's eyes glowed and the wrinkles in his cheeks flushed along the surface of his face when his stained gums came out of hiding. They could tell he was hurting. "Sorry, Abraham. I've been busy with the house and moving in and stuff," Emery tried. "Arson and I try to make it here as often as we can, you know that. But there are other volunteers. Why don't you try being friendly to some of them?" "I'm not really all that friendly to you guys, and I like you. Those other young punks ain't got a shot." He struggled to breathe. Emery poured him a glass of water and told him to take it easy, but he wasn't in the mood to comply. "Maybe if you weren't so pretty, I could find it within myself to befriend some of the other volunteers. But I'm afraid Cupid has done his magic already." Abe winked at Arson. "That's really sweet, Abraham, and so Hallmark it's almost disgusting. Didn't know you had it in you." "I'm insulted. I've always been a gentleman to you, my dear." Emery burst into laughter that could be heard down the hall. "Keep it down, girl. Just trying to pay you a compliment. You see, Arson, this is why you don't compliment women. It always comes back to bite you." "Don't listen to him," Emery said, handing Abe some Jell-O. "Women love to be complimented at the right time." "And when do you suppose that is?" Arson finally piped up. "I don't know, but if the man's a real gentleman, he'll know." "After all my years of living on this earth," Abe began, taking another sip of water, "I've learned it's a whole lot easier to upset a lady than it is to get one of them to smile." "Say what you will, Abraham, but men can be fickle too, and cruel, and scummy, and pig-headed." All right, Abe said. It seems I've underestimated you once again, my dear. You continue to make me ever wiser and even more ornery. Congratulations." They all shared a brief laugh. Abe turned to face the boy in the corner of the room now. "So who are you, Arson?" His lips fired off. "Tell me about yourself. I don't know a thing about you." Arson stared blankly back. I don't want to know your name, per se. I know what they call you, and that's not really important. That's not what makes you who you are. You could be called Jim or Travis or Loser for all I care. What matters is who you are deep down in your soul." "If I have a soul," Arson sighed. Abe was taken aback. "Don't be silly. Everybody's got one, kid." "Do you believe in God, Arson?" "What?" "You know, heaven and stuff." It took a while for him to answer. "I'm not sure. Still waiting for proof." "Maybe we could call you Thomas, then." Abe bit his lip and chuckled. "I get it. I was waiting too. But you know what I figured out after all my years of waiting and getting angry at the world? My beautiful wife's phone keeps ringing.
turned off the
We'll be right back, guys.
Do you want to start it over?
Nope. We got the troops. They're with us to the end. Right, guys?
You're not good.
Where were we? I realized that you only waste time that way. Waiting for something good to happen to you. Waiting to get out of the mess you're in. No, that ain't the way to be, kid. You gotta be the hero. You gotta stand. Even when you feel like quitting. Forget about your proof. If I was waiting on proof, I'd still be waiting. Arson looked at Emery with confusion. Who did this old bat think he was, telling him what to do? Like he had all the answers? The lung cancer patient who had smoked himself to the hospice wing was giving him answers on how to live. The very thought was ridiculous. Today felt like an interrogation. First, Emery's father had treated him like some potential fiend trying to deflower his only daughter. Now here Abe was, sucker punching him in the gut with random philosophy. Was the room actually shrinking, or was that just his imagination? Thanks for the advice, Arson said, rolling his eyes. You ain't gonna listen, but I suppose that's all right. I didn't listen either when some old fool told me the same thing. Man, oh man, how much time I missed in this life. Bitter at the world. To them, I was just another minority loser. But I told my mother I'd be somebody. Be something. Do something. The world didn't take too kindly to me for a while. But things change. They always do. And I did, Mama. I tried. It was the first time either of them had seen Abe cry. He looked sad before, like he'd wanted to, but today he threw caution to the wind. I'm sorry, Mr. Finch. This world can be pretty cruel. The old man cleared his nose and said, But it's got life too, kid. That's what I'm saying. Even this messed up place got a soul. It ain't perfect, but it needs saving, just like I did. Just like you do. Everybody needs help sometime. Everybody needs love, but no one's got it to give. Man, oh man. If only I knew then what I know. He started coughing again. Blood and phlegm came up on his sheets. Emery panicked and paged the nurse. Take it easy, Abraham, Arson said. You still haven't answered my question, kid. Arson fired off the first set of answers that flooded his brain. My name is Arson Gable. I live in a cabin in East Hampton, and I work at an ice cream parlor. Abe leaned against his pillow and collected his composure. Emery helped get the spit off his jaw. Give me something to chew on. Maybe 20 questions is something we should save for another day, Abraham, Emery said. I suppose you're right, my dear. Abe cracked his neck and leaned his head back against the pillow, drenched in sweat. He pulled the covers over his chest and started to shiver as the nurse walked in. She asked if everything was okay, and Abe told her to get lost. Once she left in a fit, Emery whispered, That wasn't very nice. She was bothering me, Abe said in a raspy voice as he closed his eyes. Think about what I said, Arson. Life's too short to become a cynical old fool like me. Arson's gaze was far away. He hadn't been able to buy what Abe was selling. The old man didn't live in the world as Arson knew it. He didn't know what high school was like now, didn't know what waking up afraid felt like, or the lingering fury he possessed when starting a fire with one stray thought. There were no rallies for his kind, because no one else was like him. There were no fire-starting professionals or compassionate politicians for Arson to look up to. People didn't like those they couldn't understand. And how could he ever expect them to like him, when even he hated what he was? Abe seemed smart enough to get by in a hospital bed, but he was wrong. Dead wrong. Chapter 24. Emery should have knocked. She made the mistake of walking into the bathroom unannounced. There she saw her father, tired and unkempt, leaning on the bathroom counter. He was chugging a beer. The look on his face read guilt and shock as he swallowed. Her father told her she shouldn't be barging in on people without knocking. Then he put the beer down and asked her to talk to him for a moment. I wasn't expecting you home yet, he said. I I could have sworn it was locked. Mom's home too, Dad. What are you doing? This isn't what it looks like, right? I mean, tell me that isn't a beer in your hand and that you're not drinking it in front of me. Tell me I'm crazy. I'll believe you if you say it. Joel hung his head low. Would you keep your voice down, please? That's all I need is another fight with your mother. She's so... Emery shut the door and leaned against it. As much as she wanted to be sympathetic to whatever it was her father was going through, she was still stuck in that hospital room with Abe and Arson. Look, Emery, I want to talk to you, for real. Once you hear me out, then I'll let you judge me, hate me, whatever you want. She watched him scratch his head frantically, panicking and sighing and flaring his nostrils. It wasn't just stress on his face, or even loss of a job. It looked like failure. First of all, tell me why you've been lying to me, she said. This life. I never wanted it. I thought I was so sure about things. I wanted to tell you, I really did, but it's not that easy for me. What's not easy, Dad? The fact that you moved us out here in the middle of nowhere, or that you swore you'd never take another drink again? She felt her vocal cords crack. Or what about Mom? Keeping this family afloat while you cope with a mistake you made almost 2 years ago. We lost everything because of you. They hated us. And I couldn't blame them. Joel bit his lip. I lost the church. Emery grumbled and folded her arms. Grow up, Dad. How could you do this to us? To me? I believed you. We can't grow through this again. My father's supposed to be stronger. You were my hero, Dad. Now, you're going to be another loser in rehab. I'm not going to rehab, sweetheart. Look, I'm trying to stay calm, okay? It's not like I need alcohol to survive or anything. This is a one-time thing. You've said that before. Do you actually believe yourself when you lie? Joe clenched his fists and banged his head up against the wall. I just need to get my mind out of this mess. Having a drink helps me forget about the mistakes I've made to you and to your mother. I love that woman, but she doesn't even recognize me. I don't recognize me, Emery. This isn't what I want, but I'm hurt. I'm in pain. For the first time in a long time, she could tell he was being honest. She'd hated him before the lies, for the mixed-up priorities. But this time, the man who used to be a minister was telling the truth. And he meant it. Dad, I thought when it happened... Just say it again, Emery. When what happened? Dead air crept into the room. I thought when you lost the church, things would be different. I mean, they called you a drunk, a loser. Don't you think that hurt me? I know it did, sweetheart. It nearly killed me. I wish I could change everything, but I can't. This is the way our life is now. Things are different. But your mother isn't making it easy. Can you blame her? Emery grinded her teeth. I hate you for making me side with her. I never asked you to pick a side. You never had to. It just happened. And newsflash, it's starting to happen between you and me too. Is this what you want? Emery tried to understand. She had problems to call her own, and she didn't need his dumped on top. Didn't he care that people were worse off than he was? People like Abe or Genevieve? Understand what? You lied to me and to Mom. Most of all, you lied to yourself. Emery, it's only a beer. No, it's not only a beer. It's everything. It's you, Mom, our screwed up family. Our family? Joel said, smirking. I lost our family long before I lost the church. Emery stared at him a while and saw him as the weak and fragile human being he'd become, the way his failure glared out from his eyes. She shut her own and thought of a time when he made her smile or held her while she slept. Few memories like those existed, but she held tight to them because that was the man she wanted to remember. That was the father she needed right now. Emery grabbed the bottle of beer from the bathroom vanity and walked downstairs to the kitchen, leaving her father to sob on the toilet seat. The lights were off. She could see shades of the moonlight sliding along the countertops and cabinet space. Outside the window, she saw a sky full of bright light and unity. She closed the blinds and wept. Be strong, she told herself. Be stronger. Emery began pouring the bottle out into the sink, the slow chug as it emptied as it emptied, brought back image. Wow, I'm screwing up this line. Emery began pouring the bottle out into the sink. The slow chug as it emptied brought back images of her former life as a quiet pastor's daughter with a perfectly flawed family. The suds oozed out the lip of the bottle, but before it was empty, an idea crept into her head. She'd wasted enough. Immediately, she looked for another container, one a little less conspicuous. Once the bottle was empty, she rinsed it out and placed it in a bag in her room. She'd dispose of it in the morning. No need for her mom to freak out too. Not yet, anyway. Maybe her father needed more time. She rushed upstairs with a plan and prayed for tomorrow. All right. We made it through 2 chapters. They were pretty quick. I hope you liked them. It's one of the cool parts about going through this read through is getting to relive and revisit some of these characters. I mean, these are parts that I haven't even read probably in at least 5 years. So I'm really enjoying this, and I hope you are too. So come on back tomorrow. We got 2 more awesome chapters for you. Thanks.